What if Apple's next Pro Max iPhone ends up being the most advanced iPhone ever made, and the one that upsets the most people at the same time? Because the latest iPhone 18 Pro Max leaks and early reports aren't just pointing to a faster chip or a better camera. They suggest Apple may be changing the entire iPhone release strategy in 2026. Who gets the newest tech first? How long other models get delayed? And how big the gap becomes between Pro and non-Pro iPhones. So in this video, we're breaking down the rumored iPhone 18 Pro Max upgrades, Apple's new launch plan, and why all of this could make the iPhone 18 Pro Max Apple's most controversial iPhone yet. Let's get into it. First, a quick reminder, none of this is confirmed by Apple. These are leaks, analyst notes, and supply chain style rumors. But taken together, they paint a pretty clear picture of where Apple might be heading, and it's a direction that could change how you buy an iPhone. Now, here's the biggest shift everyone's talking about: the launch schedule. For years, Apple has trained us to expect one major iPhone season. Fall hits, Apple reveals the whole lineup, and you pick standard iPhone plus Pro, Pro Max, whatever fits your budget. But in 2026, Apple may split the launch into two separate waves: the premium models, like the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18. Pro Max could arrive first in fall 2026, and the standard iPhone 18 may not show up until spring 2027. Some rumors also mention a value model, something like an iPhone 18 East, also landing in that spring window. If that happens, it's a huge change in how iPhone shopping works. Because if your phone breaks in October, or you're ready to upgrade in the usual season, you may not have the regular iPhone option available yet. Your choices could be buy Pro or wait months. And that right there is the first controversy. Apple may be pushing the market toward premium by simply making premium the only new iPhone you can buy at launch. Now, why would Apple do this? One reason is focus. When Apple launches everything at once, the standard iPhone competes with Pro models for attention. But if Apple launches the Pro lineup alone in the fall, the entire internet reviews, headlines, TikToks, comparisons becomes a giant spotlight aimed at the most expensive phones. Another reason is separation. Apple has been widening the gap between Pro and standard iPhones for years. A staggered launch doesn't just widen the gap, it makes it feel official. Pro becomes the main event, and the standard iPhone becomes the follow-up. And the third reason is simple business. A delayed standard model can drive upgrades toward higher-priced models. That might be great for Apple's margins. But for buyers who just want a great iPhone at a reasonable price, it can feel like forced upselling. Now here's where it gets even more complicated. The iPhone lineup itself is getting crowded. Instead of a clean, simple iPhone family, Apple seems to be building something closer to the Mac lineup: multiple tiers, multiple audiences, and a lot more decision-making. Alongside the regular and Pro models, we're hearing about a thinner Air-style iPhone concept in the broader roadmap, a value E model for budget-focused buyers, and the big wild card, a foldable iPhone potentially entering the picture around this same era. More choice sounds good until you're actually trying to buy, because now it's not just which iPhone do I want. It becomes, do I buy in the fall or wait until spring? Do I pay extra to get next-gen features now? Do I settle for a cheaper model later that might use older hardware? Do I buy Pro because the standard model is delayed? Or do I skip the whole thing and wait another year? And this is exactly why Apple's spacing out launches could be intentional. If Apple staggers iPhone releases, each model gets its own marketing window. Less overlap, more attention, more controlled messaging. But for the customer, it can also create a constant feeling that the right time to buy is always 6 months away. Now, let's talk about the iPhone 18 Pro Max itself, because this is where the excitement really kicks in. The headline upgrade, according to multiple reports, is the next generation A20 Pro chip, potentially built on a 2 nanometer process. If Apple pulls off a major node shrink like that, it's not just a tiny spec bump. It can mean three things users actually feel: more speed for heavy tasks, better efficiency for battery life, and more headroom for advanced on-device AI features. And AI is the real keyword here. Apple is clearly moving toward more on-device intelligence features that run directly on your iPhone rather than in the cloud. But on-device AI needs serious performance and serious efficiency. A more advanced chip is the foundation. So the iPhone 18 Pro Max may be positioned less like the biggest iPhone and more like the most powerful personal computer Apple can fit in your pocket. If you're someone who edits video on your phone, plays demanding games, runs pro-level camera workflows, uses your phone for business travel, or just keeps your device for 4 to 6 years, this is the kind of upgrade that can actually matter. But here's the issue. The more Apple supercharges the Pro Max, the more painful it becomes if the standard models don't keep up. And that brings us to the second controversy: the performance gap. A big rumor floating around is that Pro models could get the newest, most expensive silicon first, while the standard iPhone 18 and the lower-cost 18e may use older chips or repurposed chips to reduce costs. If that's true, the difference won't just be benchmarks. It will show up in everyday experience over time: which models get certain AI features, how long your phone feels fast, how well it handles future iOS updates, how advanced the camera processing is, how smooth gaming and high refresh workloads remain. After a year or two. In other words, Pro wouldn't just mean extra camera lens and nicer screen. It would mean the real next-gen iPhone. And that's a problem, because the iPhone is a mainstream device. When mainstream buyers start feeling like they're getting a second-class iPhone, the conversation gets ugly fast. Now let's talk design. Because one of the most talked about rumored changes is under-display Face ID. Apple has been chasing a cleaner front display for years. If Face ID sensors move under the screen, Apple can reduce visible cutouts and move toward a more seamless look. Some leaks suggest Apple could combine under-display Face ID with a punch-hole front camera. If Apple nails this, it's a big deal. It could make the iPhone 18 Pro Max feel meaningfully more futuristic the moment you turn the screen on. But there's a reason this is controversial too. Under-display sensor tech is hard. Early implementations across the smartphone world have had trade-offs: brightness inconsistencies, reduced camera quality, or reliability concerns. Apple usually waits until a technology is mature enough to meet its standards. So if Apple brings under-display Face ID to market, it signals confidence, but it also raises expectations to an extreme level. Because Face ID isn't a nice-to-have. It's something you rely on dozens of times per day. If it's even slightly less reliable than current Face ID, people will notice immediately. So yes, under-display Face ID could be the coolest iPhone design change in years. It could also become the feature people complain about the most, depending on how perfect it feels in real life. Now let's move to the cameras, because the Pro Max is always where Apple tries to set the benchmark. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is expected to bring upgraded camera hardware and even more advanced computational photography. That likely translates into improvements users actually care about: cleaner low-light photos with less blur, better detail retention in difficult lighting, more natural portrait separation, more consistent skin tones and highlights, and stronger video processing, especially for creators.